Hey guys, good morning, red and black greetings. This is Flamengo. Welcome to the Paparazzo Rubro Negro channel. If you're just arriving, I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe down below, turn on notifications by clicking the bell, and drop a like on the video. We're here thanks to YouTube Shopping, where you can get the main Mango products and help Flamengo by shopping here, man. On YouTube Shopping and also at the official Mango stores, you can find Flamengo's official products. There are new tracksuits being released, a new Adidas line. You can also get all the official products here and, of course, at Flamengo's online and physical stores. But remember, whenever you buy official products, you help the club. We're also here thanks to Haroldo's Caravan, and Mais Cabelo is also with us. Always in the pinned comment, you can travel with Haroldo's Caravan to Mengao's games and make sure you're present at Flamengo's most important matches in the Brasileirão and Libertadores. The Brazilian Cup is coming up too, so there's a lot for you to enjoy. And of course, right, I always show here the jerseys you have, the long sleeve one I'm wearing. You can also find some retro jerseys that even resemble this one here of mine, autographed by Zico. There's the Black Diamonds, which is a jersey against racism. Spectacular, you can get yours. They're still available on YouTube Shopping. Feruza too, what a beautiful jersey that is, Feruza. All of these are available. And I always highlight the jerseys against racism here because here on this channel, I've already told you that regardless of political views, I'm always against racism, against prejudice. You know that because of my religion, I face a lot of prejudice, a lot of bad things happen. There is, yes, a lot of racism, a lot of prejudice, and it's not just whining. But wrong judgments can't happen either, and I even commented in the last few days about Felipe Luiz's statements, and he actually explained himself very well. We have to have the humility to say, look, the guy explained himself, the guy made his support for Vini Jr. clear. He explained the issue of the isolated case. He didn't downplay what happened. We also have to think that in many moments, a statement can sometimes sound one way and actually mean something else. So I think we're making very strong and, how can I say, immediate judgments about things. I saw what happened with Hugo Souza and the goalkeeper Marcos. It's Hugo Souza. Because of our rivalry, because he left Flamengo, then he says he's a Corinthians fan and all that. Of course, we tease him, joke about it, like, oh, he's a bad goalkeeper and all that, but there will never be any. Neto once tried to talk about racism and accuse Flamengo. He tried to do that once. There will never be any correlation with skin color, guys, never. Especially from Flamengo's fans. Flamengo's fans are among the most respectful towards other fans, including Corinthians, right? I've seen Atlético Mineiro's fans too. They sing a song that's extremely prejudiced against Flamengo's fans, and we don't respond in the same way. And we don't whine about them calling us this or that. But the song, you know, it goes like team of idiots, you know, fag, you know, thief. They sing this song to us, calling us names, you know, they call us Mulambo in a derogatory way, but we even call ourselves Mulambo. So guys, in soccer, this has always happened. Today, we really have to fight against certain situations. We really do, but I think sometimes it's a bit exaggerated. Marcos, he was the goalkeeper. Marcos, okay, guys, that's who I'm talking about. He commented on a post about Hugo Souza, saying that he also was always mocked and attacked for his mistakes. Blunders, the famous blunders, and that for many years he has also been mocked for his own blunders as a goalkeeper. And he wanted to comment that this had nothing to do with skin color. At least that's how I understood his comment. And we've had goalkeepers like Dida, Manga, black goalkeepers who were much better than white goalkeepers, much better, and many players too. The greatest player of all time, Pelé, is black. Manga famous. From Bicho's goalkeeper, right? Goalkeeper Manga, a black man, and Dida. For me, one of the greatest goalkeepers of all time, also black. Guys, for me, man, I can't. Maybe it's just the way I think because I can't associate a comment with the issue of skin color. I just can't. I can't believe so many people do that. But we do have, yes, we have racists. We do, I think we have to fight and have harsher punishments regarding racism. But I think that in some comments, it's people are also being prejudged. There are a lot of people who aren't racist, like Marcos. In their actions, we can see they're not, and they're being judged for a comment, sometimes even for something they misunderstood. So be careful, everyone. Be careful, because they did that to Felipe Luiz. The other day, I also criticized some of his statements, and I was man enough to say, look, after seeing what he explained, I think it really makes sense. And he didn't do that, and he's not like that. So be very careful when we're judging whether that person is racist or not. That person who is racist, the act of racism, whoever is racist, has to be arrested, has to be punished for their actions in a severe way. And Felipe said that, and I agree. Okay, so guys, right? I think Hugo Souza should be teased and criticized and praised for his on-field performance. And never associate that with skin color, okay? And as I said, we have great goalkeepers who were never remembered for being white or black. They were remembered for what they did on the field. And I even mentioned, well, let's go. We have an important situation to talk about here. The president, Luiz Eduardo Baptista, BAP, president of Flamengo, talking about the issue, about the big madness that the government did with taxation and everything else, wanting to turn all the clubs into SAFs. And Flamengo gave the answer. Flamengo went to Brasilia. I'm going to bring the information here. Look at this. Sports executives are working in Brasilia to guarantee tax immunity for the training clubs. There's a mobilization for sports with Zico present. Zico is there. Look at that. This is very important, folks. Very important, okay? The president of Flamengo took part this week in an event in Brasilia alongside Olympic sports executives to defend the associative clubs and seek to reverse the tax penalties. It's absurd. This is a disgrace imposed on the organization supporting the country's sports foundation. The delegation was at the sports committee of the Chamber of Deputies and also met with leaders of Congress, including Senator Randolph Rodriguez, as well as the Minister of Institutional Relations, Gleis Hoffmann. There are signs of an agreement to overturn the veto and to build a proposal for a constitutional amendment, right? That guarantees tax immunity to the sports activities of non-profit organizations. The movement has the support of historic sports figures like Zico and aims to ensure legal security and financial sustainability for clubs, as well as for those who create and maintain social projects in Brazil. All right, then we have this change happening. Let's see what BAP had to say about it.
Today is February 24th, 2026, Tuesday. We're wrapping up a very productive day here in Brasilia, where we were here together with the National Clubs Association, Sena Club, CBC, ECOB, Flamengo for sure, and a number of other multi-sport clubs from Brazil.
The defense of
the interests of nonprofit associations in Brazil, due to a law passed between December 26 and 31, SAF started paying less tax than the associations.
Absurd, man. That's absurd. Basically,
the SAFs will pay 6% and these associations will end up paying 15%. This happened because the government vetoed the historical exemptions, causing the social clubs that are the backbone of national Olympic sports to lose their exemptions. We are here working to reverse this. We had a very productive day. We spoke with the government leader in Congress, Senator Randolfo Rodriguez, who presented two great proposals, one to overturn the veto and another to create a constitutional amendment that in some way defines the issue. Definitively, that sports in Brazil or non-profit sports associations should be immune to tax changes. This will provide the comfort and legal certainty needed so that all these entities, these clubs that do so much for national sports, can continue producing great athletes for our Brazil. Let's see how these new talks unfold here in Brasilia, which we expect to happen throughout the month of March, and I'm sure we'll have an important victory for national sports. Always come together for a fair sport. Greetings, Brazilians.
So BAP is working to ensure that Flamengo continues to develop players and athletes for Olympic sports. Not just players, in this case, not just soccer, but also to maintain Olympic sports. And that Flamengo is not forced to become a SAF, because what the government is doing, I can't understand this interest in making the clubs become SAF. Because man, what a disgraceful thing the government did. What a shame to want to force the clubs that are associations to become SAFs, to make taxes easier for SAFs and mess with the associations. It's great that President BAP is doing this for all the association clubs, remembering that today Flamengo and Palmeiras are association clubs. We can't accept this. This shame, there's a Zoom Chuang who has this shame. Well, we also had Coach Felipe Luiz. He talked about the meeting with BAP and also talked about the moment of pressure. Let's listen here. Look, it was only on ESPN.
Honestly, our current form is not ideal. It's not what we expect. We hope that we know that our team has a lot of room to improve, that it can get much better. The external pressure right now, really, as you said, maybe it's the biggest, but I've always felt pressured. Since the first day I took over, I put everything I've done on the line because the pressure is huge at Flamengo. Since the first game I was in charge. In the first team, the first semifinal, the first final, the early stages of last year's Libertadores, with the possibility of being eliminated, I've always been under pressure, and the Flamengo coach will always be under pressure for results. Not only that, but also for strong performance.
Perfect, perfect.
Where I am, considering the demands and the pressure that come with it,
it's good that,
I feel privileged to play under this pressure.
That's good.
Because if you talk inside the room, it stays there, but it's simple. BAP and I have had a very open dialogue since last year, with weekly meetings always, both in good times and not so good times. We talk about all aspects of the team, both the individual aspects of the players, technical, tactical, and everything. He really likes to know about the decisions, and we have a very open dialogue. Meanwhile, I like to be very objective in my analysis and know where I made mistakes, where we can improve so we can correct our course. So I always share with him, with the players, and with Boto, my analysis of what's happening, of what happens in each game. Each game has a different context, and these meetings are extremely important within a soccer department, where there is so much pressure.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Felipe's statement explaining that BAP asks about tactics, asks about everything, to him and to Boto. There are almost weekly meetings, like I told you. Sometimes it's every 7 days, 10 days, and there are conversations during good times and bad times. Felipe made that clear, saying he likes the pressure and making it clear that, as people say, the owner's eye fattens the cattle. BAP is always there. BAP is always there. I think Felipe's statement is important. He talks about the good relationship he has with BAP, unlike what some people try to say. And I would really like to say here that I've seen a lot of people attacking Felipe Luiz. You know that I defend Felipe Luiz's work. I got really irritated after some recent matches, and in my post game, I really criticize some things that have been bothering me, some decisions with certain players, insisting on some players that have been bothering me. But I'm much more bothered by the ingratitude and lack of respect that some people are showing towards Flamengo's coach, who is a true Flamengo supporter and who already did a great job in 2024 at the end of 2024 and an amazing job in 2025. There were moments of mistakes and there were many moments of getting things right. And I think people are forgetting way too quickly what this team and Felipe Luiz have done. In the same way, I think it's fair for the fans to call the team shameless. They're upset. It's the moment the fan has to call them that. We shouldn't have like a fan gatekeeper. No, the fan is upset. He has to express it. But I think that with Felipe Luiz, I've noticed on social media that people are crossing the line with a guy who really wants to turn things around and find his way, and I'm sure he'll find that path. We've already criticized, we've already complained. I'm not going to stay here yelling, screaming. I see a lot of people talking about this. I'm not going to stay here yelling and screaming, complaining all the time, as if this was just a search for engagement. No, we have to criticize when it's necessary. We have to complain about what's really happening and say, look, this isn't good. The team isn't able to create plays. They're not able to get to the attack. Felipe isn't, and it's not just Felipe. No one is pushing. The guys are very apathetic. The team is apathetic. Where is that Felipe we saw in the locker room, like I said, in the Libertadores, saying he doesn't have a family, doesn't have anything? That Felipe too. That hunger is gone too. So we made the criticism looking for improvement. But there are many people who are really toxic online. There are a lot of people, and I see it. It's a lot of negative comments. It feels like Flamengo hasn't won anything in a long time and everything is wrong and needs to change. Guys, it's not going to be like that. It's not going to be like that. But I'll say it again. I'm going to read Felipe Melo's comment here. Even Mengo creates a poster. Look at that. A shameless team is too much for me to say about a team that won everything, that won recently, and I have no doubt will keep fighting. Some of them performed below expectations and some fans even booed. I understand because it's a big club, but they're not shameless, on the contrary. But Felipe, the fans have the right to go to the stands and call them a shameless team. The fans are irritated. Okay, the fans are upset. We can't gatekeep the fans. I understand. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Your comment is perfect. Calling the team shameless is harsh for a team that has won everything, that won recently and will keep fighting. But at the same time, the fans' reaction is genuine. He wants this team to go back to being the one he saw winning everything. He's upset. He's angry. That's part of it. What I'm saying here is that the fans' reaction in the stands, on social media, it's all genuine. But I also agree that at certain times there's a turmoil. Guys, there are things that aren't. Man, it's a prejudgment. I've talked a lot about this, a prejudgment about something that I think the adjustment is being made, the fine-tuning is being done, and Flamengo will get back on track. Julio Cesar himself talked about this. Now, the fan's reaction is genuine, it's genuine, and if the fan feels like speaking up and wants to speak up, we can never censor that. Now, obviously, there are people who take advantage of this moment to gain engagement and will just keep attacking, just attacking, just attacking. Not here, not here. I'm going to root for, and I am rooting for, and I believe in Felipe Luiz's comeback. I believe that Felipe Luiz can turn things around, and I will be supporting, as I always have, Felipe's work. I've already seen people saying, change, we have to bring someone else. In my opinion, I'm in favor of him staying. I'm in favor of him having 2 or 3 years of work. There will be bad moments. We'll criticize during those bad times, and we'll also praise a lot. He said he doesn't really like it. In fact, it's not that he doesn't like it, it's just dangerous. A lot of praise because then you end up on a pedestal, I get it, but we'll praise a lot when we have to praise and we'll criticize when we have to criticize. And just as I criticize and defend, I hope that Felipe Luiz, also doesn't take the criticism to heart, doesn't take it to heart. That's important. Look, we have Flamengo wrapping up on the afternoon of this Wednesday their preparations for the decisive match against Lanús. So at 3:30 p.m. at the training center, Felipe Luiz is already preparing the team for tomorrow's match at 9:30 p.m. against Lanús at Maracanã. And we will have the team being prepared, the team that will play. May God enlighten Felipe Luiz's decision and help him fix things, which is very important, right? And Flamengo tries to break a curse and come back at Maracanã. Okay, so Flamengo goes onto the field besides everything else, right? To try to break a curse. Since 2022, Flamengo has struggled to come back when trailing. In knockout matches, there were 4 games where they were at a disadvantage and not a single comeback confirmed away from home, okay? The last comeback happened precisely in 2022 against Atlético Mineiro in the round of 16 of the Brazilian Cup. In the last 10 years, Flamengo managed to overturn a tough situation only twice, against Atlético Mineiro in 2022 and against Emelec on penalties in 2019. But in finals like the 2023 Recopa and the 2017 Copa Sudamericana, where Paquetá was even there, they ended up being defeated, and in 2023 it was on penalties. Flamengo won, but took it to penalties and lost. To lift the trophy this Thursday, then, Flamengo needs to win by 2 goals at Maracanã. If they win by just 1 goal, the decision will go to penalties. Either way, if they become champions, Flamengo breaks a curse, and we like breaking curses, that's it. I invite you to follow, like, and share on all platforms. If you're on YouTube, I invite you to subscribe below, turn on notifications, hit the bell, and leave a nice like on the video. Thank you very much for your company. Greetings, red and black fans. This is Flamengo. Thanks. We're in this together. Felipe, we're with you. We're going to get the house in order. Everything will work out.